Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Between Two Brokers. Today, Schmoopy here is going to answer another one of your email questions. Thank you so much for writing into podcast@smithspencer.com. Keep those questions coming. It's Schmoopy time. You ready?
I'm ready.
Dear Schmoopy, I've heard you say that you are great at advice on love.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be in a rock-solid marriage. How did you know that Spence was the one? And how do you stay so connected after all of these years?
Ooh.
How many years has it been?
It'll be 11 in November.
Damn.
Yeah. How did I know he was the one?
Why don't you tell the story? You need to tell the story.
Wait, of how we met?
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on.
I'll do an abbreviated version. We were both at a fundraiser, and I knew a bunch of the people there because I used to bartend at the bar where, for the fundraiser, was somebody needed a heart transplant. And
they're both philanthropic, you guys.
yeah. Spence was there because he was donating gift certificates to his pub. The bar that I used to work at was very blue collar. Nothing wrong with that. I love blue collar people, but so many of the men would like hit on me, and I never really gave them the time of day. And my best friend at the time would come up there all the time, and she had really short hair and like sleeve tattoos. And I think that most of them thought that we were a couple. So that's the backstory to what's happening. The night that we met. So we're at a fundraiser. I'm on the dance floor, and Spence, never seen him before. He just comes and scoops me up, walks me off the dance floor, sets me down, and says, "I know you're a lesbian, but if you want to dance, I'm your man." And I said, "What?" Come to find out later, he had seen me on the dance floor and asked a couple of the guys, they were like, "Hey, who's that?" And they were like, "Don't bother. She's a lesbian." So, but anyway, I was intrigued enough that at the end of the night, I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go across the street to get a bite to eat. Do you want to go?" And he showed up and continued to show up. I thought he was like weird enough just to like keep me interested, but I wasn't calling him every day. I was actually seeing somebody else when I met him. And Spence just like, he would text me and be like, "What are you doing today?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going up to the roofs to watch football with my brother." And he would show up. Mm-hmm. He would just show up, to the point where, I think I had met his friends and his family and really got more of a sense of who he is before I knew that he was the one. But I would say it was probably like 6 weeks into it.
Yeah, y'all.
That I knew.
I mean, y'all were like fat. It was fast.
Yeah, we moved in together after like 3 months, and but I will say that I feel like I have a lot of friends going through relationship problems right now.
Me too.
You do too.
Me too. Yeah. Well, I think it's season. I think it's the season. I think it's like, I hate to say this, but like people die and people break up in July and August. Notice this.
Okay.
And like December-ish. It's season change.
Yeah.
Anyway, go.
Well, I have a hard time when I see my friends settling for men, because obviously they're my friend for a reason, and I think the world of them. And I want to say, like, it's not enough to be tolerated by a man. You need to be adored by a man for it to work. Being tolerated is not tolerable. But in order to, you have to be worthy of adoration at the same time. So, like, coming in with this, like, strong bitch female energy doesn't work for most men, okay? Like, being hot, being sexy gets you laid. Being sweet, being kind, valuing respect more than attention gets you a ring. And
damn, Aaron.
Well, it does, I don't know. I've always been good at relationships. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you've met a lot of my ex-boyfriends and you're like, damn, they still love you, or, whatever. I just feel like one thing they will always say about me is how sweet and kind I was to them. Even when you're arguing, you have to argue with kindness, because once you say something nasty, you can't take it back. And I hate that adage that says never go to bed angry, because if you try to like stay there and work it out when you're emotional and in the heat of things, you're going to say things that you cannot take back. My advice is go to fucking bed angry, go to bed in a different room, and then come back and talk about it the next day when emotions have settled and you can think clearly. Like I don't like that. Don't go to bed angry bullshit. But what else?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think everybody has stuff that works for them, but no relationship is easy and it takes work. And, you've just always been both of you guys are very devoted to each other and to your relationship. That has to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like where you're like, my marriage is important. I mean, you've said to me before, you're like, look, I'm going to need to dial it back. I need to spend more time with him.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And this is another big thing. You got to learn the other person's love language.
Oh, this is hilarious.
Spence's,
because you don't even know this was a dinner conversation this weekend.
Oh, good.
I didn't bring it up, but somebody's friend brought it up, and somebody said, "Well, that's some horse shit."
No. It's not. It's not. If you haven't read the book, The 5 Love Languages or Languages of Love, whatever it's called, read it, because it's important, and you can read it in like one night. My love language is like quality time and physical touch, and Spence is very good at giving that to me. If you ask Spence what his love language is, he will tell you it's acts of oral service, which is not.
I was going to say touching is.
The true love language is acts of service, which I am good at. I love to cook and like take care of people. That men do not value something that they don't have to work hard for. So stop giving it away on the first night.
Oh, I always give it away. Come on.
Do not leave your nipple prints on a man on the first night.
Only long-term relationships for me. It's part of the interview process. I disagree with that entirely.
The interview process.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that what is it that I've said to somebody here in this room? There are many penises in the sea. That's all I have to say. So you do not need to settle. Definitely not. And I mean, your life can be anything that you want it to be, and your partner is probably the number one driver of what your level of happiness in life is going to be like, the person that you choose, because it goes into everything. Your work, your vacation, how you feel on a day-to-day basis, your home. I mean, it's everything. So you got to pick somebody that is compatible with you, that you have the same values and goals, and you're aligned on what the North Star is and all that kind of stuff. I mean, my parents have been married for almost 50 years, and it's unbelievable. I mean, just like how connected they are and how engaged they are with each other, and they're always having fun and they're always laughing. And I mean, their relationship certainly isn't perfect, but it's very, very admirable, and I hope to have something like that.
Yeah.
So
I will also say, like, once you feel like he might be the one or she might be the one, premarital therapy, I think, is a blessing and a necessity. But I grew up in a therapy household. Like, my dad did marriage counseling, and I saw what it did for, he actually did it in the house. So I would see what it did for these couples. And Spence and I did it, and I think it really taught us how to communicate with each other. And it's also kind of hard to see when you're in the wrong, when you're angry. So just like being able to own up to how you're contributing to negative factors in the relationship is always a good thing to try to fix what you're doing wrong, because it's easy just point the finger and, blame the other person for it. So I could go on and on and on, and I won't.
She loves talking about love and relationships. So thank you so much, dear listener, for writing into podcast@smithspencer.com with your love question. Keep them coming. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and tell all your friends. And that's it. Thanks, Schmoop.
You're welcome.